We're getting some rain over here in North Dakota. We need it. We were getting pretty dry.
We've had some good rain, but I think it's going to rain again today, but it's going to be 90.
90? It's either going to rain or it's going to be 90?
Well, I think it's going to rain and be 90, but tomorrow it's going to be 69.
Yeah?
That's Michigan for you.
There you go. All right. Well, we're live on Facebook. So,
Hi guys.
Andrea's back with us this week. She remembered to call.
Yep.
No, I'm teasing. She remembered last week, but sometimes life gets in the way, doesn't it?
Yep, that's right.
So, we've had a great week. We've had a great summer. It's been a good summer to get out and enjoy and getting outside. We need that vitamin D, don't we?
Yes, most definitely.
Yep. They're showing more and more so that we need that vitamin D is important. So, didn't you have your vitamin D levels tested? And
I
then
did.
you started taking a supplement and it really wasn't getting absorbed into your system. And then after one of the talks that we did, you started taking some additional things. And so how's it going now? Is it absorbing better?
I don't know. I have to get another blood test to get it checked out.
I was just thinking about that last night. I was sitting there and I was wondering, how's Andrea's levels doing? So, because I know, like myself, 2019, after I got back from London and Paris, my trip there, my vitamin D levels were low.
I remember that. Yep.
And I started taking a supplement and I got my levels up. So.
Yeah, I might have to do a liquid vitamin D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sublingual.
Yep. We'll see, but I definitely want to get it up. I think it's super important for the upcoming winter season.
Well, I think it's important for the upcoming winter season, as far as like preventing infections and things like that. But there's so many studies on it. So many studies on vitamin D now that it's not just for bone health.
Right.
Yeah. And really it's important for overall health. And
yeah, they say it affects every cell in your body. So
yeah, I remember. God, that was when I was in my first clinic. So that would have been in the early 1990s. I was at a seminar and I learned how vitamin D is so important in helping prevent multiple sclerosis.
Yeah, I have friends with that, and they have to take a lot of vitamin D.
Yep. So if it's important in helping to prevent multiple sclerosis, what other diseases could it help?
Well, they say you have to have a count of over 60 to help support against breast cancer.
Over 60.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. I know my mom, hers were low. Hers were down around 20. And I put her on a pretty mega supplement because my mom doesn't get outside all that much, after she busted her knee and had to have a hip replacement. She just doesn't go outside as much because she can't walk very well.
Right.
And so, but you know what I did? I ordered her a 3-wheeled bicycle with an electric front motor, with a motor and an electric front wheel. Yeah. So that way she can get out and about. And excuse me, my dog he wants attention right when I get on a conference call. But anyhow, so my mom will get outside. But I put her on a supplement and we got her levels up to 70.
That's great.
Yeah, and I thought it was great too. And then her doctor turns around and says, "Oh no, that's too high. Go off of that." I'm like,
too high?
Yeah, it's even within their range. The range that the medical doctors have established, and they said it was too high. I'm like, I don't know.
And the ranges are even low, actually.
Right. So anyhow, today, Andrea, I thought I kind of got diverted talking about vitamin D because I was just reading a little bit before we got on the call. But we were going to talk about healthy aging today, and
Right.
I think vitamin D is important. It's an easy one.
I think it's important to age,
Yeah,
to get your age,
yeah.
keep your age.
Well, the opposite of aging is dying,
Right, that's what I'm talking
right?
about.
So when somebody said that they're, when I say anti-aging, the opposite of aging is dying. So really, is there any anti-aging, right? We want to talk about healthy aging.
That's
And
correct.
and so vitamin D is important, just like all the other vitamins and essential fats and essential amino acids. Anytime you see the word essential, it means that you have to have it.
Right.
You have to have it, and your body doesn't make it, so you have to get it from the outside.
Mm-hmm. Exogenously.
Yep. And so there's a lot of things like that, and I was just reading this morning. I was reading a study in the mornings, especially on Tuesdays before I get on the call, because I can't go out and work on any of my cars or any of my projects, the yard or anything, because I got to jump on the call right away, and so I don't want to get all messed up with grease or anything like that. But so I do a lot of reading on Tuesday mornings. But I was reading on a study on autophagy. Right? Do you know what
Mm-hmm.
autophagy is?
Implosion of cells.
Yeah, so autophagy is when your body, it goes and it takes out the bad cells, removes them. So it's removing
Mm-hmm.
the dead, dying bad cells, right? And so
The military.
we talk about like senescence. When
Mm-hmm.
a cell has gone into senescence, it's autophagy that removes that senescent cell. So
Right.
it's important to have autophagy. It's important to get those old, dead, dying cells out of the body, because those are the ones that are going to trigger things. If you got a cell that's um, been altered from from
Mutated. Mm-hmm.
mutation from radiation, or just from age, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to replicate in the normal fashion with a healthy DNA sequence, right? It's going to give the
Mm-hmm.
wrong message, because that's what our DNA does. It gives the message, and so your body puts it into senescence. It puts it into a kind of a sleeping mode, I guess, basically. But it's not really sleeping. These senescent cells can actually affect other cells, and it can make them go kind of rogue as well. And I know, we talk about zombie cells, and how it creates these zombie cells that trigger other cells, to go into this zombie mode, right?
Right. And um, yeah, that's a after the age of 40, there's a huge increase of those cells because as you age, your body's less able to get rid of them as readily.
That's right. And so, we can get into a lot of talking about telomeres, and we can talk about stem
Mm-hmm.
cells, and we can talk about this and that, all these other things. But bottom line is that, so number one, you want to keep your cells from going into senescence early,
Mm-hmm.
before their time, right?
Right.
And then when they do go into senescence, you want to get rid of them, or you want to rehabilitate them
Mm-hmm.
so that they're healthy, vibrant cells again. And so, that's another thing that we need to talk about with healthy aging, is how do you do that? How do you
Okay.
do that? So, so what I was reading this morning was intermittent fasting
Mm-hmm. Very
can
good for you.
induce autophagy. But intermittent fasting is when you go 18 hours without eating. So let's say you eat tonight at 6 o'clock, and then you
Mm-hmm.
don't eat again until tomorrow at noon. That's 18 hours.
Right.
But they're saying with some people, that's not enough. It won't induce autophagy in some people. Sometimes it takes up to 4 days of fasting.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you know that? How do you know that? And and so then they were talking about what foods will trigger the autophagy to end, right? So for those people that, again, you don't know if you're the 18-hour person or the 4-day person, how do you know without testing and things like that? And most of us aren't going to get tested for it to see if our body's gone into autophagy. And so you have to think about what can you do to kind of induce that. But they were saying that that in people, that once you've gone into the autophagy, branched chain amino acids can actually pull you out of autophagy. So we've got I know, like with the company that you and I work with Sizzle, we've got a product that uses branched chain amino acids to build muscle, to trigger your body to have the message to build muscle. But if you're trying to do fasting and you're trying to induce autophagy, that would then be a product you don't want to use during that time frame. So if you're doing intermittent fasting, the last thing you want to do is drink a Sizzle Ripped during that time frame.
Oh, that's new information.
Isn't that I mean, and that's good information to know. So if you're doing your fasting, and I know I've done it before, I mean, I'll go, well, I've had a couple of the Sizzle Thins today, and so then the next thing I'll do is I'll have, like I'll go, well, I'm kind of just a little bit hungry, so to take the edge off, I'll drink a Sizzle Ripped, not realizing that just pulled me out of the autophagy.
Right.
So
that's good. Good to know.
Good things to know, right? And but in order to kind of speed up your body's process of moving these senescent cells and optimizing that whole metabolic process, there's certain things that they found. Quercetin was one of them. That what it does is and ficitin, and they come from plants. Ficitin comes from strawberries, and it's found in apples, and then you have quercetin that's also found in apples, and it's found in onions, and they found that both of those help to induce this autophagy. And curcumin is a great spice that does that as well.
Okay.
But so when you remove these senescent cells, now it gives room. It's kind of like, you have an empty seat in the room. Now you can bring somebody new in to sit in that seat. So that it induces the body to bring in a healthy stem cell, rebuild those stem cells, and now that healthy stem cell can kind of take that seat and go to work. Because what is it? What do we?
Because the old one wasn't doing anything except giving off toxins. So if you replace it with the new one, then you have restoration happening again.
That's right. And how many of your stem cells go dormant by the time you're, our age, by the time you're 60? How many? What's the percentage? I mean, it's quite a lot.
I don't remember like for this, but I remember like you have about 2 to 5% active stem cells by the age of 70.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because you look at when you're 20, you have one stem cell for every 20,000 regular cells in your body, and by the time you're 50, I think it was one stem cell for every 400,000. So let's say for every 500,000, and then when you get to be 80, you have one stem cell for every 2 million cells in your body. So you've used up that many. So you want to optimize that stem cell activity as much as you can when you get older. I mean, when you're our age, middle age, you want to make sure that those stem cells are working as healthy as you possibly can.
Right.
Right.
Definitely.
And there's two things that are stick in my mind. I mean, there's more, but there's two things that stick in my mind that cause problems with stem cells. One of them is glycation, and the other one is lipofuscin. And glycation is when your body burns sugar as energy. The byproduct, just like when you're burning gasoline in your car engine, it gives off exhaust fumes, right? Carbon
Mhm.
monoxide
Mhm.
being one of them. When your body's burning sugar as energy, using the sugar as fuel, and sugar, when I say sugar, I'm kind of, you know, being a wide range, because even celery breaks down to sugar. It's a starch and it breaks down to sugar. So I'm not just talking about table sugar. I'm not just talking
Right.
about your good old high fructose corn syrup or anything like that. I mean, it's all carbohydrates break down into sugar, and so even though you need some and you need fiber, um, it breaks down into sugars, and that the end product is this glycation. And think of it kind of like you throw an onion ring in oil, and in
Mhm.
boiling oil on your on your stove or whatever, in your onion ring maker, and what did they, what are those things? Oh, fry daddies. I was having a, remember that? The little,
Mhm.
yeah. Anyhow, so it turns that onion ring, it turns it that coating,
Brown, crusty,
right?
blocks
Oh,
blocks it up. Can't even see the onion anymore. It's like coated.
yep. Or when you're cooking fish and it coats the fish with that brown coating, with that breading,
Mhm.
that's the sugar coating that I'm talking about. That's the glycation that I'm talking
Mhm.
about. And so you can see and imagine your cells being coated with that, with breading.
Yep.
So
That would be bad. And I am forever grateful that I got rid of a lot of that
yeah,
in
and
my
and
brain.
and so the studies that came out, this was 4 or 5 years ago, when it was like the hottest thing in the medical news, was removing this glycation, and they found certain
Mhm.
things like nicotinamide riboside, nicotinamide mononucleotide, and even niacin, right? Vitamin B3, all
Mhm.
forms of vitamin B3. They found that those things, that vitamin B3 was really good at removing this glycation,
Right.
right? And so the results of it were that they again, the studies from Harvard and studies from other prestigious universities, um, showed that if you remove this glycation, you could take that stem cell and you could optimize it again. You could get that stem cell working,
Mhm.
not like a 70-year-old stem cell, but you could get that stem cell working like a 40-year-old again,
Right.
which is important.
Mhm. Very
Yeah.
important.
And then the lipofuscin, that's the byproduct of burning fat as energy. Think
Right.
of it like, and I'm trying to give you these visuals so you can think of it. Think of it like the sludge in your oil pan, or if a lot of people don't change their own oil, so they don't know what that sludge looks like. But think of it like you cook a bunch of bacon, but you never dump the bacon grease out of your frying pan,
Right.
right? And
Yep.
you just keep frying bacon over and over and over in there. Pretty soon, when you let that frying pan cool down, you got that white grease in there, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Well, in your body, when that forms in the cell, that's because you burn fat as energy, and then that gunk sits in the bottom of the cell,
Mhm.
just like
Mhm.
that greasy gunk in your frying pan. And so now your internal motor, right?
Mhm.
The mitochondria, which is the energy producing part of the cell, can't do their business the way they're supposed to do. It can't carry on
Right.
the normal metabolic function. So all of a sudden now you've created this sludge in the system, and that's gonna take the life out of you too, right? I
Mm.
mean,
And take the life out of that cell for sure.
yeah, just imagine, Andrea, like you're gonna go for a run today. You're gonna go for a 5 mile run, but I'm gonna take and I'm gonna tie a 100-pound weight behind you that you have to drag on a rope behind you
Mhm.
as you go for your jog. You're right. You're
God,
not gonna
I wouldn't be going anywhere.
but you're not going to go as far, right?
Not gonna go at all.
It's gonna tend to hobble you, and I do that with my dog so that he doesn't, he can't run as
You put
far.
weights on him.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I want to slow him down, and I want to wear him out faster in the same walking distance, right? Because he otherwise he wants to run, but so think of that with your cells. I mean, obvious this could take the life out of the cell.
Right. Well, it's like, if you think of the cell, like the cell has to have stuff coming through its membrane and leaving its membrane. And if it's all gunked up, none of that can happen. The communication and the proteins and all the things that need to move back and forth in that cell are stopped, basically.
Yeah. You know, we can't make any medical claims about the AGE pill, which is the AGE pill, actually, anti-glycation extreme, but we can't make any medical claims about it. But all we can say is that the studies on the ingredients are overwhelming. I mean, there's so many studies on it. We could sit here for the rest of today going over the studies. I mean, on my phone, I've got study after study after study that I've just saved the links to, because I mean, it was just so important. They showed that you could, you know, optimize the nervous system. You could optimize the you know, brain function. You know, and you know, not making any medical claims. I'm just saying that you can optimize these systems. You can support the body in what it's supposed to do, and we can say that. We can legally say that. You know, and I know you had some great testimonials when you started taking the product.
I did, and I've got 3 short videos on that. I can stick it down in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, but just quickly, you know, I mean, like for myself, I noticed when I started taking these products that reduce the lipofusion and the glycated end product. You know, for me, the first thing that I noticed was that my vision improved.
Right?
Colors appeared brighter for me, and I no longer, here I am, I'll be 60 next year, Andrea, and I don't have to wear reading glasses. I mean, I can sit here on
Yep.
my little phone, and I just was kind of commenting to my mom the other day. I said, you know, I rarely use my computer. The only time I really use the computer is on Tuesdays when we do this call, because otherwise, you know, Zoom doesn't work as good for me. I can't control the functions as good on my phone. But you know, so I get on my computer, on my laptop for that. But other than that, I use this to read all my emails, to do computer functions and all that, and I can read that little tiny screen without reading glasses. I don't even know where my reading glasses are.
Yeah, I still wear them a little bit, but I was wearing like, I think 250 in strength. I'm down to 125, and I'm not even sure I need that. Maybe less. I don't know if they make it less than that, but my eyesight is improved. I wear contacts, and it used to be like 8.25. So they always had to special order because I was so blind, and I'm down to 6 now.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if I lose my reading glasses, I don't have to quickly run to the dollar store and buy a pair so I can see for the day, because I actually can read Facebook and it's a little difficult, not too bad, but I can read it. Where before there was no way I could read it.
Well, I go out, you know, when I go out to dinner with people in the evening and they have the lights dimmed in the restaurant or in the bar, a lot of people, they can't read that menu.
Right.
You know, so they have to get out their phone and turn the flashlight on and magnify it and all
I've never
that.
seen anybody do that.
You never seen anybody do that? Okay, well, yeah, I've seen people do that, and it's just, you know, I don't have to do that. You know, so I know the product makes a difference. You know,
Right.
I know the
In so
product
many
makes,
ways. So
yeah,
many ways. Like
you
we
know,
have hours of testimony about it.
yep. Yeah, and you know, the other thing that I noticed, I used to have to keep a pocket full of Post-it notes with all the different things that you know, got to get this done today, and you know, the night before I'd write down, I'd make a list of all the things that I had to do the next day, so that you know, you know, and now I don't have to do that anymore. I wake up the
Right.
next day and it's like I remember the things that I thought about that I had to get done today.
Yeah, it worked fabulous on the glycation, which I assume was in my brain, because for 3 to 4 years before taking that product, I had a horrible time with short-term memory. I would tell my kids all the time, like they'd say, "Remember yesterday I told you this?" And I told you, if it happened yesterday, I forgot it already. Like
Yeah.
it was really bad. I couldn't remember numbers. Like I build a lot of stuff, so I'm cutting lumber and stuff, and I'd take the measurement, I'd walk to the saw and go, forgot it already. I would always have to write it down. And now, like, I can remember all kinds. I can remember conversations from, 2 weeks ago. I can remember, like, for instance, if somebody was giving me their phone number, I would have had to ask probably 3 to 4 times to actually put that in my phone, what they just said, not
Mhm.
being able to retain it. And now I can do it. I'm amazed all the time at what my brain can do that it couldn't do 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's about when the product came out. What was it? 4
Yeah.
years ago or 5 years ago?
4 years ago. Yep.
July 4 years ago. Yeah,
2017. Yep.
2017.
Great day in
And
history.
yeah, so what a great product, and for our company, it's our number one selling product now because it is such a great product and it makes such a huge impact on people's health. And again, we can't make any medical claims. We can just say that it supports the system, it optimizes a person's health, and kind of being respectful of people's time and things like that. I think that as a person gets older, one of the most important things is keeping the immune system strong,
Hmm.
because we look at what happened last year and what's going on this year, and it continues to go on with this virus. They say that if you're older, you're more susceptible to major problems triggered by this virus.
Yep.
Yeah. And isn't that true even if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic?
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Look at all the people who died from flu
they died.
previously. Like 50 to 70,000 people died from the
Yeah,
flu. I mean,
every year. Yeah,
hmm.
and the flu. I mean, shoot, I mean, when I've gotten the flu, I haven't had it in a while. Knock on wood. But when I do get it, I mean, I get sick for a day, and then I'm over it. My system fights it off. But when you get to be older, why is it that older people don't have that immune system?
Well, lack of good stem cells, lack of vitamin D, lack of other nutrients that aren't getting processed because they have toxins in their body, all kinds of stuff.
Yep. But their immune system, a lot of their immune system has gone into this senescence that you and I were
Right.
talking about
Hmm.
earlier. So their immune system has gone into senescence, and that affects everything else because it's your immune system that takes care of the autophagy. It's the immune system that recognizes those senescent stem cells and says,
Right.
get out of here, buddy. Sorry, Charlie, you're
Hmm.
gone.
Yep.
And so if your immune system has gone into senescence, now you kind of set up for a double whammy almost, right?
Yep. And the things you talked about in the beginning, intermittent fasting boosts your immune system.
Yep. And the senescence and all of these different things, and so when we're talking about that, so as you get older, I think that, like I was just talking to my parents about, my dad's 82 and my mom is 81, and
Hmm.
and I was just talking to him about it on Sunday. I said there's some natural things that we can do to support the immune system, and and you probably, I don't know if you're on Facebook this morning, but I just posted on Facebook this morning that they found two monoclonal antibodies that work against this spike protein.
Really?
Yeah, and so I was reading this. I was reading the study, and I posted on my Facebook page if you want to go look at it. But I thought, well, that's interesting. So now they're actually telling us a little bit more about how this stuff works. And so they found that these antibodies, what they do is they block the spike protein from being able to attach to your cells.
Okay. So the antibodies are natural in your body?
No, no, these are
Okay.
these are these are medications.
Oh, they're looking at it, medications, but
Oh
there's
yeah, of
natural
course it is.
products. There's natural products that prevent the spike protein from attaching to your cells also.
And you and I have talked a lot about that extensively over the course of the last year. What
Hmm.
natural things can do that. And so my whole
We talked
thing
about
is,
it 2 weeks ago. Like last
yeah,
week, I wasn't with you, and the week before, we talked about sticky proteins.
Yeah, but preventing, blocking that. Yeah. And so, I think that that's important with healthy aging. And I think it's not just going to be important today, and during this crisis that we're in right now. But I think that this might end up being a problem that we're going to see, for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe for, the future, in every year for our lifetime, these, it's not going to go away. I think we're going to see future pandemics. That's my prediction. I think we're going to see future problems. I mean, my son and I were talking last night, and he was talking about we hear about this Delta variant, right?
Yeah.
Of the virus. So now there's a new one. It's similar to the Delta variant, but it's the Delta plus. And he says he said it's he said because he's working his residency now, and he said he's seeing it. They're coming in, people are coming in with it, and they're having this new mutation, and it's even that much worse. So anything you can do to make your immune system optimized, right? When we can say that. So you take a look at a drug called Tamiflu. And what does Tamiflu do? Well, Tamiflu's got ingredients that help to block the spike protein on the flu virus, and also to prevent this cytokine storm. And so, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, and so if we're going to talk about healthy aging, Andrea, I think we do need to talk about the immune system. I think it's going to be just as important, maybe even more important than talking about telomeres or stem cells, right?
It could be very important. And I think we should just encourage people to go out on a good search engine like DuckDuckGo and just search for anything you can find that will talk about spike proteins and possibly like what would prevent them from attaching to the cell. That's natural, that you can go out and find that's natural.
That's right. Or you can go back and you can go on the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/C/Sizzle World Team, SISEL WORLDTEAM. And so
Right.
youtube.com/C/Sizzle World Team. And if you go on there, we've got all the videos. I take all these videos, the video that we're doing today, by the end of the week, at the latest. Sometimes I don't get it done right away. I try and get it done the same day, but sometimes things come up. But we put these videos on there so that you can go back and you can review them, and you can share them, and and whether you're vaccinated or non-vaccinated, whether you're a smoker, a non-smoker, whatever, I mean, it's all up to you. You have to make the choices, and so what you have to do is you have to decide, how are you going to approach the thing.
You
and
still got those men in black in a black SUV following you around, Doc?
No, well, you mean the car that I see coming up and down the street at night sometimes here.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them in about a week and a half now, and sure, now that I've got my high powered flashlight ready so I can shine them.
Your camera, and got your deer cam out there.
Deer
Yeah,
cam
that's what
on.
you need. You get your deer cam out there.
Yeah, I talked to the neighbor.
Deer cam.
Well, it's infrared actually, so it would take a picture of their vehicle. But anyhow, that's a whole nother story, Andrea. That's a whole nother story.
I thought it'd be a good way to end it.
Yeah. So yeah, we're right on the bottom of the hour, and it's a great time to say goodbye to everyone. So Andrea, thanks for being with us every Tuesday and sharing the information. And it's a lot of fun because you think about it. If you take a look at where we are, you're in your 60s, I'm 59, and we're middle aged. 60 is the new 40.
Oh, I
And
think so.
40 used to be considered middle age, and now you know, they're saying your late 50s and your 60s are your middle age, and so people are gonna live longer, and the goal is that, you know, we want to make it so that you have a better chance of being old and being healthy at the same time.
Yes, health span. Health span. Span
There you
your
go.
health out. Okay,
All right.
Doc. Well, thank you for being on here every Tuesday to share great information with us. And we hope you tune in next Tuesday at noon Eastern time. If you can't do that, our videos are on the Facebook channel, Doctor's Clinic, Doc Biz with Friends, or on Doc's YouTube channel, Sizzle World Team. So
There you
tune
go.
in with us and learn about stuff. You know, what I tell people, if you watch a video and you don't like portions of it, you take in the hay and spit out the straw. So that's what we're here for, is to share information with you and for you to utilize it however you need to utilize it.
Thanks, Andrea. Thanks, everyone.
Yep.
Have a great day.
day.
Bye.
Bye.